Well, hello there. I've just had the most bizarre weekend. I'll tell you about that in a minute, I guess. But here is the 3P pre-shave cream. I'm going to apply some of that. I'll be right back after the opening credits. And depending on where you are right now, you may want to still fire up a quarantini and watch the pictures as they fly through the air. Well, I've got a few things here to begin with. I received my new C Gillette razor. There's the box it comes in. Here are the blades that come with it, the C Gillette blades. And this little, it's not really a card, it's just a little piece of paper that comes as an insert in the razor, as if you didn't know where the blade was supposed to go, I guess. Let me set these things aside, excuse me. You've probably seen this. Here's the razor, and it does have a nice weight to it. In there, on its first use, since I haven't shaved in almost 3 days, is going to be a feather high stainless blade on its first use. Since this is ostensibly a pretty mild razor, and it appears to be so. Let's see, I guess it goes this way. You might be able to see the inscription or whatever, the logo for C Gillette on there. And, let's see here. Excuse me just a moment. I'm going to clean out the sink here. I rinse it out some more, and then I'm going to be back to lather my face and to tell you some interesting stories on this very special edition of conversational shaving. Okay, I've already mostly lathered up my brush here. It's a polar shaving brush from Ming Lee at Frank Shaving, and it's for Randy Wright's group on Facebook and his YouTube channel, Polar Shaving, because he's sold on cold. We're friends again. That's another story. I'll get back to you on that. But let me kind of wet the tips of this brush just a little bit. I've got a slow draining sink here still because maintenance isn't going into apartments for anything other than emergencies until this COVID stuff completely blows over, whenever that will be. And I might be able to fix this myself, but I don't know. I might also screw it up, so I'm going to try to lather my face now. I didn't tell you what soap I'm using. Sorry about that. That's how screwed up I am lately. It's Vitos. These are special edition soaps that come with this type of label in these tubs. This was the last one that the vendor on eBay supposedly had available. It's the Ice Rosemary, which has a lovely scent, a little bit cool. Randy might like this, and scents of rosemary and some other nice scents in there. And a scent strength of about, I'd say 3 out of 10, 2.5 out of 5. Anyway, let me try to continue here. This stuff lathers pretty good. I've also got the cinnamon, which I don't think has as strong a scent as this does. Maybe at most a 2 out of 10, 1.5 out of 5, something like that, but a very nice scent. Good lathering, I think. And I only lathered this for about a minute. I could have gone crazy, but anyway. Let me wet the razor now. We'll begin pass number 1 with the grain. Oh, that's nice. With that feather blade in there, it seems to be mowing right through almost 3 days worth of stubble here. It's feeling really good. Now, I had a crazy weekend, as you might have learned, if you watched my last so-called coffee and conversation video, I didn't have any coffee at the time, but had some drama going on, and I'll begin to tell you that in just a moment, but let me rinse this razor. Yeah, someone, there goes that drain again. Someone who I was kind of a confidant of, and who was a confidant of mine, I guess you could say, someone that runs a shaving group, which I will not name right now, for their privacy, but they got the weird idea that I was going to send, I don't know, they thought I was mad at them or mad at the world or something, that I was going to send pictures of my private parts to everybody in their group, and in every shaving group, and I'm in about 30 of them or more, every group that I was in, and this person messaged Randy Wright of Polar Shaving and got him believing that, and let me continue to shave here. Really nice razor, mild razor, but you put a feather blade in there and wow. I'm not using the King C Gillette blade this time. I got a lot of nice new shaving products in the mail today. And although I clown around on this channel, I don't need the kind of drama I've had lately. Excuse me a second. Okay, now if you really want nude pictures of me, send $10 to this address. It's Don's Naughty Bits, care of Bubba Saigon, Pier 27, Locker 13, Jersey City, New Jersey, 10019, and Bubba will take care of you. Okay, I'm joking. That was a joke. See, a joke. Because there are people out there that will believe or come up with the most bizarre ideas, okay? That's all I got to say. Thank you, Internet. Thank you, Facebook, for making life so much more interesting. Like the old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Oh, there's more to this funny, hilarious story. I got mad at Randy Wright, who's actually a pretty good guy. I figured he was, but I got mad at him for believing that nonsense. So I sought the kind of revenge that an old friend of mine would have come up with. It's actually an old joke, but it's a joke that I was privy to. And when I told Randy about it sometime this morning or this afternoon, when I decided to be more forthright with him, because he's been very honest with me, I told him what I had done, which is I had put his name on some interesting mailing lists. And I'm not going to get into all that, but just for beginning, or, well, just for the sake of argument, or no argument actually, but just for chuckles, I will say I hope he will enjoy the Reverend Peter Popoff's Miracle Spring Water. I know that sounds like a joke name, but there's really a so-called reverend out there, a TV evangelist, who comes on here at 2 in the morning sometimes advertising his Miracle Spring Water, which is absolutely free, and brings some people ostensibly big checks in the mail if they, I don't know what they're supposed to do, sprinkle it over their Cheerios or shave with it or what, but anyway, I'm running on here. I'm going to pause a minute. I'll be right back, fully lathered, I hope, for a second pass, and you know how it goes. Again, sorry, let's do that again. Across the grain. Okay, by the way, the soap, the scent on it, as you use it, seems to build up to about a 3 out of 5 or a 6 out of 10, I guess. It starts off kind of subtle, and then it builds, and it's wafting about the necessity room very nicely here. So I'll continue across the grain here. Nice, nice, nice. Nice heavy-weighted handle, and although the knurling begins about there and goes up the handle there, it's pretty good knurling if you hold it there. And I guess since it's a heavier razor, let the weight of the razor do most of the work. You know how all that goes. So my mailman knocked on my door and delivered these 4 packages. And I guess I am a dirty bird because I have a running joke with him that all these packages I'm receiving are blow-up farm animals. So I told him, I said, hey, he didn't have much time to talk, but I said, hey, I got in an argument with this guy, and he apologized, and I apologized, but I put him on some weird mailing lists, but he knows my address too, so we may, or I may end up getting, for all I know, real blow-up sheep or something. Excuse me. I'll continue, and I'm going to change the subject to something more interesting and more family-friendly, shall we say. Like that thing I've been saying at the beginning of some of my shaves, when I say fire up a quarantini and watch the pictures, or sometimes watch the colors as they fly through the air. Yeah, I kind of stole that and modified it. Got it from a very late night chat show host here, talk show host. He's passed away now, but Tom Snyder, whose Tomorrow show used to come on after the Tonight Show, and later on he did the Late Late Show, which followed the Late Show. That was on CBS. He was originally on NBC, but when he was on NBC, since NBC was owned by RCA, well, hold on a second, I'll be right back. Yeah, RCA, their all electronic color format system had been accepted by the FCC circa 1955. And I don't know for sure when Tom Snyder's Tomorrow Show began. I think it was in the late 60s or early 70s, but he would say, fire up a color teeny and watch the pictures as they fly through the air. And he was kind of referring to the fact that NBC was probably the first all-color network over here in the States. And if it wasn't the first all-color network, it certainly had a lot of color programming, probably earlier than the other channels, the other networks. And by a lot, I mean they started out with only like 12 hours of color programming a week. Not that many people had color televisions because they cost the same price as a good-sized house back then. I'll be right back, and then we'll go against the grain. Okay, we're going to do a third pass here against the grain. I'll start on my neck this time. By the way, don't send any money or mail to that address I gave you earlier in the shave here. That address, as far as I know, doesn't exist. And if there is a Bubba Saigon, he's not there and he doesn't know anything about it. Still getting some good audio feedback here. Third pass with the feather blade and the King C Gillette razor. And yeah. Although if you do want color pictures of, you know what, that'll be $20 because, well, you know, it's in color. I'm kidding. Somebody's bound to take me seriously. Okay. I think there was something else I was going to say of interest on another topic, but oh yeah, I remember. I was talking about Tom Snyder. Dan Aykroyd of Saturday Night Live and Ghostbusters and all that, he used to do a pretty good Tom Snyder impression. Good morning, everybody. That was kind of how Tom Snyder talked. And I know somebody that met him before he passed away. Kind of cool. But yeah, he would often refer to his Mother Snyder, he called her, and you know, she'd be like 87, 97 years old at home drinking a martini or with a cigarette in one hand and a bottle of Jack Daniels in the other or something. And sounds like a pretty cool, feisty old lady. And he would talk about conversations they had had and questions she had had about guests on the show and so forth. Excuse me. And here we go. I gotta be careful here. So I think that's partly where he got the idea for his line about firing up a color-tini. I guess that'd be a very colorful martini. Maybe one spiked with something interesting, I don't know. After all, it was the late 60s, early 70s. And watch the pictures as they fly through the air. The transmissions from NBC New York, I guess. I think that's where he was out of. The Tonight Show used to be taped in New York. At one time it was live, but then it was taped live and taped in New York, moved to Burbank near Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Hollywood's just a neighborhood in Los Angeles. And more recently it has moved back to New York under the guidance of Jimmy Fallon. Okay, I'll be right back and it'll be pickup time, everybody. Okay, well, the crazy clock over my shoulder tells us that it's pickup time, everybody. Yay. And here we go. Real nice shave so far. Sometimes I forget this channel is supposed to be about shaving, but as a general rule, I do the kind of videos I'd like to see. And if I wasn't me, I would watch this channel just to see what the crazy SOB was going to do next. Or what kind of hot water he was going to get himself into. I was thinking about that earlier too, a different subject, but if I were, God forbid, to start talking about the current situation with all the protests and everything, I would either, depending on what side I took, I would either tick off one side or the other, or maybe even upset the people who I was trying to defend. So I think I'll keep my mouth shut about the current world situation, even the COVID, because there's too many voices out there talking about that. Excuse me a moment. Pretty good shave so far. I'm going to try to get these trouble spots. They're not too bad right now. I am using a mild razor. This King C Gillette. I would say it errs on the side of mildness, but yeah. Oh, and there's something I didn't do on the second pass. Usually on that pass, I will use my non-dominant hand, my left hand, for the left side of my face, and that usually, if I got a decent blade and a halfway decent razor, that will mow down those trouble spots real well. Kind of a slickness test here, and the soap has some good residual slickness. Of course, this is a mild razor, but it's a sharp blade, so I think I'm going to not go too crazy there, and I'll just get some of these really rough parts, I guess, maybe on my neck. I don't know if I'm going to chase BBS, but right now what I have is, well, I'd say it's a DFS, and I'm not going to go crazy. I'm red enough, I guess, from being outside a little bit. Just a few minutes out in that sun, and I get pretty red. I get red if I bend over or if I turn my head or whatever. I just have a big red tomato head and a red shirt. Doesn't help, and a red towel. Red, red, red. I'll be right back. I'm going to rinse the razor, rinse the brush, and anything else. Oh, and my face. I'll be back with Mr. Towel. Here's my answer to Fibber McGee's closet, and I'll explain that in a minute. Mr. Towel. Long before my time and before the time of most of us, there was an old radio program here in the States called Fibber, McGee, and Molly. And one of the running jokes, and I think this probably happened in every episode, is even though I guess Molly kept pretty good house, she was a good orderly house cleaner, his wife, you know, I think Fibber, if left to his own devices, would have been a bit of a hoarder, and he had this closet, and in every episode somebody would mention some kind of material item, I don't know, a hubcap, an iron, a golf club, and he'd say, hey, I think I got one of those in my closet, and he would open up his closet. Of course, this was all audio, it was on radio, and it was a sound effects dream. You'd hear all this crap come rolling out of his closet, which was evidently full of stuff, and I guess the last thing you would hear would be like a plate or a hubcap spinning, 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 and then crash. Yeah. Kind of like the way the old radio guy who later had a television show, Jack Benny, like he used to be, one of his running jokes was he was notoriously cheap. And so on one episode, I guess he was supposed to be out on the street, and a thug comes up to him, pulls a knife or a gun or something, and says, your money or your life? Well, there's the longest pause in radio history. And the audience, this was done, I guess, before a live audience, and some people start laughing, and the guy goes, well, and Jack Benny says, I'm thinking. Okay. Time for a brief recap, and then I'll put the finishing touches on this here shave. Well, let's see. Hold on, sorry. Hi there. My my pre-shave cream was this 3P cream, which I put on off camera. And my razor has been this King C Gillette 3-piece razor. And in there, on its first use, very nice, a feather high stainless blade. Very nice, especially with this fairly mild razor. Okay, my soap has been the special edition Vitos Ice Rosemary soap. Very nice, I thought. My brush has been, I didn't even rinse the brush yet. But it's been, I did tell you it's for polar shaving. You can see the polar bear on there, made by Frank Shaving, Ming Lee's company in China. And this is a silvertip badger variety of this. Very nice, very nice. And, let's see. Am I forgetting anything? Gosh, I hope not. So I'll reach over here. Again, another new product. I'm going to apply some of this aqua distillata alle rose, well, it's rose water from Italy, I believe. So very nice stuff. The only thing bad I can say about this so far is it doesn't have a restrictor on it, so be careful. Yeah, that should probably be plenty right there. Oops, just put that anywhere. And this is kind of a toner, very nice. Rose water, I think they used to use that, or still do, in Italian barber shops and other barber shops. That's real nice right there. Woo! And something else I just got in the mail, and I like these fairly new bottles that Proraso has. This is the sandalwood kind right here. So I'm going to smell like a bunch of different things here, but fairly light scents that I think will mostly go together. I've only had things clash one time, and that was a long time ago, and I don't want to talk about it. So here we go. Oh, a little on the wrists. Way up behind the ears, on the temple, a little on the back of the neck. Oh, that is, that scent. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to use this with the, either the sandalwood cream or the sandalwood soap by Proraso. Very nice. Oh yeah. I got some caps to put back on here. Bear with me, and then I'll get out of here, get out of your hair. Well, wouldn't you know it, I'm so messed up today I forgot to bring in the balm. Hold on a second. My balm is going to be something I use a lot. This Nivea Men Original post-shave balm. which I like for many reasons. One of them being it's highly absorbent, it absorbs well, and there's no parabens in it. So I'm not really scared of parabens, but for those that would rather not have them, hey, try some of this stuff. Very nice, I believe. I've had good experience with this. And wow, that, I'm telling you, this feels nice too. Real nice shave. Maybe not BBS, but still something about it. Maybe all the nice new products and everything makes it, if not a top 10 shave, probably a top 20 shave. I'm going to leave now. It's my time to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Don't send any money or anything to that address. Stole that gig from the old Saturday Night Live. My whole show is basically just, a lot of it's the old Steve Allen show, watered down. I'll explain that in another video if I haven't already. Peace.